What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video we're going to be comparing the key differences between the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 and the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. Boy, that's a mouthful. I'm going to be referring to it as the Edge Plus going forward, hopefully, so that I don't run out of words. I mean, this video will be really long, amount of times I say Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. Anyway, so Samsung announced two devices this year like they had done last year, but it's slightly different to what we had at that time around, and we've got two fresh new devices. So what are the key differences and what are the new features that we have on both of these? Well, let's find out. So initially, starting off with the displays, you've got 5.7-inch displays on both devices here. The Edge has that dual edge curve, so this is something that we had on the S6 Edge initially. Now that's been carried over onto a larger device, but you still have those two curves on either side. So this looks absolutely beautiful. In terms of the functionality, we'll be talking about that a little bit later. In terms of the resolution, you've still got QuadHD, so that's 2560 by 1440, roughly around about 518 ppi, so a very nice pixel density. And the screens, Super AMOLED, Samsung are known for making some of the best displays out there, so I can assure you that you're not going to have any problems with these displays. They are going to be absolutely beautiful, like we've had with the S6 and the S6 Edge. Now, although both devices have the same size screens, there is a slight difference in terms of the overall sizes. The Edge comes in about 1.4 millimeters taller in terms of the height, but it is 0.3 millimeters smaller in the width, and it's also 0.7 millimeters thinner, so it is a very thin device. So some small differences, but overall very similar in size. The Edge Plus, however, does come in 18 grams lighter, so it is quite a bit lighter compared to the Note 5. In terms of build, you've got the metal frame and Gorilla Glass panels on the front and the back. Now this is the same as what we had with the S6 line. They've carried this over here. The difference is that on the Note 5 you've got the curves at the back, so you've got some curves on the back like you have on the front of the Edge Plus. So this should overall make it more comfortable to hold this larger device in one hand, and that's nice to see, and it does look very slick. So in terms of which one of these is more comfortable, I believe it will be the Note 5. With the S6 Edge, I found the edges slightly sharp, so this is going to be a little bit larger, so that's going to be interesting to see. In terms of the internals, both of these have the same Exynos processor that we had on the S6, so this is an octa-core chip, and it has performed pretty well on the S6, so they've not upped it this time around. This is something that we usually see from the S6 line to the Note line, is an improvement here. This is not here, but we do have an improvement in terms of the RAM, so you've got 4 gigabytes on both the Note 5 as well as the Edge Plus. For multitasking, this should definitely come into play, and it's nice to see. In terms of the storage versions available, you've only got 32 and 64, so no 128 gig. Surprised at that. No expandable storage, guys. No expandable storage this time around. This is something that we had feared, and this is something that we don't have now, and it's something that we can't expect anymore from Samsung either, because they have removed this on plenty of their devices. A few people were hoping that the Note line would still maintain this. This is not the case, unfortunately. In terms of the cameras, you've got 16 megapixels with optical image stabilization for the rear-facing camera. Now, this is said to be the same as the S6. They've not actually mentioned anything in terms of the improvements of the camera hardware itself, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the S6 has an absolutely great camera. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, camera that we've had on any smartphone of 2015. You can see lots of examples on the channel. A very consistent and a very good camera. You do have some improvements in terms of video, however. So you've got 4K recording, but they've also got what they're calling VDIS. So this is software stabilization, which works along the optical image stabilization and should give you much more stable footage. You've also got live streaming, so instantly you can live stream to YouTube at 1080p, which is quite nice. I'm not sure how well that's going to pick up, but considering that you've got things like Periscope these days. Front-facing camera is 5 megapixels, so this is once again the same as the S6. They've not mentioned any changes here. The S6 has a great front-facing camera. You can see lots of examples on a screen here, and it does a great job. So once again, not necessarily a bad thing, but I would have liked to have seen some form of an improvement. That's just me being a Note fan. Now, with the operating systems, both of these come with Android 5.1 Lollipop. This will have the TouchWiz interface over it. Now, TouchWiz has improved from previous versions, and there is some useful features such as multi-window, which is definitely going to help for these larger screen devices. Now, looking at some of the additional features that you get with both devices. So firstly, both of them do come with a fingerprint scanner. So this is not a swipe, this is going to be touch. So that's much better than the previous year's swipe, which wasn't too good. And you're also going to have it compatible with Samsung Pay. Now with Samsung Pay, they're going to be rolling it out next month in US. They've not mentioned other countries as yet. They're going to say other countries are going to follow. So Samsung Pay, they've pretty much said that any place that accepts a card will be able to accept Samsung Pay. So that's a huge step ahead, and that should be really, really great to see. You've got a heart rate sensor on both of these. I'm not sure who's going to use it. I never use mine on the S6, but that's there if you want it. Now, in terms of the specific features, the Note 5 does come with an improved S Pen. Now, this has a clicking mechanism, so that should be pretty nice. And in terms of features, you've got some improvements as well. So just to touch on a few. Firstly, you can actually jot a note down without switching the device on or unlocking it. You can just simply pull out the pen and write on the screen, and that will give you a very, very quick and easy way to get some notes on there. So that's really, really nice to see. You've also got what they call scroll capture. So if you're on a web page and you want to screenshot that full web page, instead of having to take multiple screenshots, you can just take a single screenshot, and that's gonna screenshot the whole page. So you'll have a long screenshot instead. Once again, a very, very useful feature. Now, personally with me, with the Note 4, I didn't think I was going to use the S Pen much, but I did find myself using it more and more because it was that useful. So this should be quite nice on the Note 5. In terms of the Edge, you've got the Edge features. So they're calling them App Edge. So now you've got much more customization. So you can actually launch apps from there as well. You can customize where you want to launch it from. So that's pretty useful. Personally, I use OmniSwipe on pretty much all my Android devices. I think it kind of does the same thing. So, you know, if you haven't tried out OmniSwipe, the app, then definitely go ahead and check it out. But this should be useful to utilize the Edge, and it's going to be a little bit more easy to swipe in with the Edge on these additional features. So that should be pretty nice. In terms of the batteries, you've got 3000 milliamps on both here. So a large enough battery, but it's not removable. So this is something that we had on previous devices. That's also gone. No removable battery. Now, usage will vary from person to person, but two of the things that you do have on here which are great is fast charging, firstly, on both, which is really, really useful, and I especially love fast charging. When I go back to a standard charger on any other device, I really struggle because I am so used to fast charging. But what's improved here is now you've got fast wireless charging as well. So wireless charging traditionally has been done at the standard speed, but you've got fast wireless charging. Now, one thing to bear in mind is the wireless charging, the fast wireless charging isn't going to be as fast as wiring it in. So it's going to be slightly slower. It's going to be roughly about 30% longer it's going to take to wirelessly charge your full device compared to the wired. So that is something to bear in mind, but it's a step in the right direction, and I'm really, really happy to see this. Now, finally, looking at pricing and availability. Now, pricing is going to be your standard flagship prices, but in terms of availability, you can pre-order it from today, and it should be released on the 21st of August. So that's next week. But here's the problem. Only US and Canada. They have not mentioned anything about anywhere else. And as you guys know, I'm here from the UK, and there has been no mention of release of either of these devices in the UK. And there also seems to be rumors going around that we're not going to see the Note 5 in the UK possibly until the next year. They are going to be pushing for the S6 Edge Plus here in the UK. I'm hugely disappointed with this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will be as well, considering that I'm a huge fan of the Note line, and you know, I've been using them as my daily drivers for the past few series. I am hugely disappointed with this, and I hope Samsung change their decision and bring it to the UK soon. So what do you think of the Note 5 and the Edge Plus? Drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be trying to get this shipped over from the US either way, even if it's not going to be released in the UK. So if you want to see some full hands-on coverage of both of these devices on the channel, then be sure to subscribe so you can see that first. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.